Wonderful. Got 1 more minute. I like that someone has said we should not pollute our ocean. Always good to have a reminder in there. Thank you. And thank you for being so open and sharing back. I really appreciate that. Yeah, it will come out with your top 3 as well. So it makes sense to have a few, but we're just sharing back our top value here. Wonderful. And do note these down for yourself. It's for you to keep. Wonderful. If you're still kind of doing the values assessment, feel free to do that in the background and then do submit your top value when you have it. But we'll kind of move on with the presentation today. So you do have your top value now. Now, the next thing I want you to do, and don't worry, all will be revealed on where we're heading with this exercise. The next thing I want you to think about is what skills are you good at? What things do you have in your what capabilities do you have within yourself that you have been learning and building across your lifetime so far? This is sometimes a little bit tricky to think about. I know I struggle to think. If someone asks me what my skills are, I'm not sure where to begin. But a question that usually helps me is that if I start thinking about, what have people complimented me on maybe recently? So if you think about that for yourself, so maybe your friends always turn to you for what to do in the weekend. So that means that you're probably quite good at researching or knowing what's out there, but you're also very good at planning. It might be that people always come to you when they've got an issue or something that they have a problem with. And that means that you're probably very good at listening, but also communication. So these are a few examples of the kinds of skills that come up for people, but I'd like you to write down your top 3 skills for yourself. What are you good at? And feel free to put it in the chat, to be honest, because what we don't do enough is talk about what we're good at and actually be able to share that with people. So this is a place to rate yourself and we'll give you high fives back. Brilliant. So you should have now your top value and you should have your shortlisted a few skills that you know that you're good at. Now, what we're going to be doing is unlocking our superpower. Now, it doesn't matter if you have no idea what I'm talking about, because I'm going to explain it. So far, we've talked about our skills and our values. Now, what we want to try and do is think about our skills when they are powered by our values. What do I mean by this? So we could be practicing our skills in any context. So take the first line as an example. So I'm going across here. So this skill of researching can be applied in so many different contexts. You might be researching for maybe some kind of like business proposition or for a consultancy or something like that. But there's so many different contexts that someone can use their skill of researching. However, and this is what we want to get you to start thinking about as wave makers, is that can you think about your skill as being powered by your values? And when you start doing that, that is when you're really unlocking your power. And that is your superpower that you can go out into your life with, basically. And by powering your skills through your values, you will be leading a more meaningful life and somewhere that you are able to commit to with your full heart and soul. And everyone deserves that. So just taking again that first line as an example. So say, for example, that person that's really, really good at researching, their top value was health. So this mystery person, their power would be analyzing data potentially. So they could be analyzing data to be able to understand more about healthcare systems and furthering health for themselves, their family members, and maybe it's something that they really care deeply about. Now, this is where your superpowers are so unique to you, because if you gave me data to analyze, I would say, no, thank you. That is not something I even am good at or I even care about that much. For someone out there who is very good at researching and who is powering that by their value of health, that is where they're unlocking their superpower. Let's take another example. Do have a look through these all across. So hopefully start steering you in the direction of your values. But another example is, say, for example, that one of your top values was justice. So you care about fairness and equality and the fight for justice. And your skill is photography. Now, we all know that anyone can be photographing any matter of subjects, and it could make for quite a meaningless career. Maybe this person was already looking at doing kind of fashion editorial photo shoots, but actually, is that furthering their value of justice? However, if they think about their skill of photography as being powered by their value, maybe they're doing something like photojournalism. And hey, they've got much more meaningful outcomes, and they're unlocking their power. Now, it's really great to think about these superpowers in the real world. So I just wanted to talk you through a well-known and famous example. And this is someone that we've heard from earlier today. So this is Sir David Attenborough. Now, we know that his values, well, we can maybe take a good guess at what his values might be. So these might be, his top 3 values might have come out as being maybe adventure. So he's always kind of seeking new adventures. He values passion. So a very huge interest and deep dive into an area. And then he also values growth. So constantly being challenged and being pushed out of your comfort zone. However, then his skills, and this is if you think back to Sir David Attenborough, hasn't always been the person that we know today. When he first started off, he was behind in kind of the crew of television rather than in front of the camera, and he started off in a very different path. And at that time, he might have said that his skills were around leadership, being an historian, and around television. Now, if he's powering his skills through his values, we can see that he has really unlocked a career that has been centered around his power. Not only is he a presenter, so he's able to really use his leadership skills to get people around a message. He's also able to put that passion with being a natural historian and become a documentary maker, so being able to share that passion with people. And then finally, anyone be presenting and sharing their knowledge, but he is a storyteller, and so hopefully this will help you start unlocking what your superpower is. And if you feel like you're now thinking, oh God, I really do, I understand this now, and I understand what my superpower could be, do share that in the chat, because we'd love to hear more. So finally, we have 5 actions for your future, and by your future, really saying it's our future. So first of all, if you like this, you will absolutely love our full Deep Currents workshop. So this is for our workshop for 16 to 25-year-olds, and the next one is going to be online on Tuesday, the 6th of December at 2 p.m. And that's UK time. What is this workshop all about? So what you've experienced today is just a short taster of what we really do in that full 3-hour workshop. So in that workshop, we take a deep dive into what ocean threats, particularly around pollution, and we start developing a campaign as a group on how to take action on something that you care about. We leave the workshop thinking, and we share lots of resources around how to get into more meaningful careers, and again, how to use your superpower to be able to do that. Some of the feedback from previous sessions has been from Zoe over here. So it's not very often that I see a workshop and think, I'm going to do this one. I like this because it's about real change and changing people's lives. And then Iwara said that I didn't realize that I could do things like leadership and networking until you pointed out how my skills can apply to the and the everyday things that we can do to help our ocean has been really interesting. So in case you needed any more convincing, you can also see what Zaina thought of this workshop. But if you're interested enough, which I'm sure you are, you can use this QR code to sign up. There will also be a link coming into the chat now, so that you can follow that and sign up on Eventbrite. And I hope to see you a lot of you there, and hopefully you can have a chance to introduce ourselves properly face to face. The second action you can take is that we would love